Ryan to root for Claressa. I really am. I ain't gonna lie. I got a little bothered when her cousin did an interview. Now, I allowed the interview because I'm messy. I'm a messy bitch like that. You feel me? I can't help who I am. But I did feel just a little bit sorry for Claressa when her cousin Shalita came on my platform and literally, I said, what are people saying that you dragging her down?
What if everything you believed to be loyalty was never really that at all? That's the question hanging over Claressa Shields' situation, according to Tasha K. This was never about rumors or gossip. This was about evidence verified quietly over weeks, away from cameras, away from social media, and away from the noise that often clouds judgment. The truth did not arrive all at once. It came in fragments, scattered pieces that slowly revealed a pattern. Dates didn't match up. Messages meant for one person appeared to be sent to multiple people. Excuses that seemed familiar were repeated endlessly, just delivered to different inboxes. On the surface, Claressa Shields appeared strong. She posted confidence, she posted love, she posted certainty. She made it look like nothing could shake her. But behind the screen, according to Tasha K, cracks were forming in the foundation of what she believed. People tried to warn her more than once, quietly and gently. They didn't shout or make headlines, they whispered, they nudged. They asked questions that didn't make sense at first glance. But when you are in love mode, when your trust is fully invested, red flags often blur into the background. You want to believe loyalty exists, so you see it where it may not. The reality, according to the information uncovered, was more complicated and far more deliberate than anyone could have imagined. Papoose was not simply hiding a secret here and there.
But on this Christmas with him, this very special Christmas with him, yeah. Apparently, Claressa spent Christmas alone in the Louis Vuitton store, racking up about $30,000 in bills this Christmas. Okay, Papoose was with his family.
He was orchestrating a system. 5 women, 5 distinct roles. One provided emotional support. Another was low-key, kept quiet out of public view. One was a past connection that had never truly ended. Another was a recent, short-term relationship, impulsive but active. And finally, there was one held as a future option, present enough to remain available, distant enough to stay undefined. This wasn't randomness. It was structured, intentional, and methodical. Claressa, knowingly or not, was standing inside something that was never designed to protect her. The breaking point didn't occur on social media, during a dramatic argument, or in a viral post. It happened quietly on Christmas, a day she believed belonged to the two of them. But the truth, Tasha K claimed, was far harsher. Papoose had already made other plans. Claressa's special day had already been scheduled, and she wasn't included. That quiet moment of realization, not tears or public confrontation, marked the beginning of a collapse. The story Tasha K told begins not with spectacle but with certainty. These were not unverified rumors or gossip to be taken lightly. Every name, every timeline, every voice note was cross-checked. Patterns were examined. Every detail was measured and compared. The picture that emerged was not chaos, it was calculated design. According to Tasha K, multiple people tried to warn Claressa early on, long before the public even noticed anything amiss. No confrontation, no public callouts, just quiet hints, questions, subtle observations. But love has a way of turning even glaring red flags into background noise. She trusted the loyalty she was shown, or at least the version of loyalty she was given. The first bombshell changed everything. This was not one woman, one secret, one minor oversight. According to Tasha K, Papoose was involved simultaneously with 5 women, each with a distinct role and purpose. One woman was emotional support, someone he checked in with consistently. Another was a low-profile, almost invisible relationship, intentionally kept off the radar. A third was a past connection that never fully ended. Familiar, comfortable, and easily accessible. A fourth was recent and short-term, a new emotional or physical connection. And the final one was held as a future option, someone close enough to remain available, but distant enough to remain undefined. This was not disorganization. This was a system. The patterns were clear. Travel dates didn't align neatly. Voice notes, identical in tone and phrasing, were sent to different women. Excuses, work conflicts, family obligations, scheduling issues, were repeated but always delivered to new recipients. Nothing was random. It all pointed to structure, to calculated choices, and to careful orchestration. For Claressa, the public and private realities did not match. Outwardly, she appeared unshakable. She posted confident captions, displayed loving gestures, and projected composure. But privately, according to Tasha K, she had begun seeing fragments of messages and inconsistencies. Not enough to fully confront him, not yet, but enough to plant doubt. Instead of facing the truth, she searched for context, explanations.
So I felt sorry for Claressa when she was in there blowing a bag, $30,000, and then she had to take the bag to Papoose and acted as if Papoose gave her the bag.
Give me nothing from Louis for real. I don't know why you did that, but you didn't have to.
It's Christmas.
You didn't have to give me.
Alternate meanings. She convinced herself that she was different, that her place in his life was secure, that loyalty still existed in her lane. That belief, however, was a trap. Tasha K framed it as the moment when trust began to crumble, not violently, not publicly, but quietly, internally. Love had turned into defense. Claressa defended loyalty that was being divided across multiple channels. She contextualized inconsistencies, rationalized overlapping dates, explained away repeated excuses. Her strength and confidence, which the public admired, had been weaponized, not by force but by assumption. She was strong, so she would endure. She was confident, so she would protect the image. She was visible, so she became a shield for the system. The turning point, Tasha K explained, was the Christmas incident. Claressa spent the day alone, shopping at a high-end store, racking up roughly $30,000. She acted as though this was a gift from Papoose, as though the gesture preserved the bond. But it was more than a shopping trip. It was a symptom, a behavioral sign of misalignment between image and reality. Meanwhile, Papoose spent the holiday with his family, including Remy Ma and their daughter. This distinction mattered. What Claressa was told, family obligations, was only partially true. The reality, Tasha K claimed, revealed that the system was still functioning, prioritizing other relationships over the one Claressa believed to be hers. Divorce papers, or the lack thereof, played a critical role in the larger story. The legal narrative was never about law, it was about leverage. As long as the divorce remained unresolved, control remained intact. Ambiguity maintained power, postponed accountability, and left options open. In this system, every decision was strategically timed, every silence deliberate, and every delay calculated. Claressa bore the emotional weight, defending a narrative she did not fully control. The public, however, saw only confidence. No tears, no dramatic posts, no public confrontations. Outwardly, she was composed. Inwardly, according to Tasha K, she was trapped between what she felt and what she had already publicly defended. Walking back from a narrative once loudly defended invites humiliation, and humiliation often delays necessary action. Strength admired by everyone else becomes a silent expectation. Endure quietly, absorb damage privately. Silence in this situation was not ignorance or indecision. It was strategy. Public statements were minimal. Denials were short or absent. There was no effort to clarify timelines or defend against specific claims. When evidence is real, any word can be scrutinized, replayed, dissected. Silence forces the narrative inward. It shifts the burden of interpretation, placing the weight on the person who has been misled, rather than the person who created the confusion. At this stage, the question is no longer about 5 women, timelines, or Christmas. The question is about choice. Claressa Shields faced a private reckoning. Walk away and lose the narrative she once defended, or stay and carry knowledge she cannot unsee. Every option carries consequences. Walking away carries pride and public acknowledgement of deception. Staying requires compartmentalization, silence, and emotional endurance. Neither path offers peace, both demand sacrifice. Tasha K emphasized that this was never about villainizing Claressa. It was about revealing patterns. A system where emotional access is managed across multiple women, while a single image is maintained publicly. Claressa's strength was never the issue. In fact, it was what allowed the system to function. Visibility protected the structure. Silence, endurance, and composure were not safeguards. They were tools leveraged against her. The real collapse, according to Tasha K, is not public. It is private. It is the moment someone stops defending illusions, stops rationalizing behavior, and recognizes the reality they have been standing inside. It is the internal realization that loyalty was never exclusive, that visibility does not equate to priority, and that silence can be a weapon rather than a shield. Once the system is understood, you cannot simply ignore it. You cannot act as if everything is normal. The collapse begins quietly, inside the mind, in the moments between public posts and social appearances. It is the reckoning, the moment you replay every defense you offered, every warning you dismissed, every instance where you chose trust over instinct. The damage is not just heartbreak. It is the weight of clarity, humiliation, and betrayal recognized too late. This is where choices matter. Walking away costs pride. Staying costs self-respect. Either path leaves a scar. This is not a story about villains or victims. It is about structure, access, and who bears the emotional burden when truth surfaces. And the most revealing fact? Silence from one side is not weakness, it is calculation. Silence from the other side is not absence, it is endurance. Ultimately, the story stops being entertainment when it becomes decision-making. The real collapse is not a viral video or social media outrage. It is the private moment when someone chooses whether to protect an image or protect themselves. Claressa Shields now stands in that space, confronted with truth, patterns, and decisions that cannot be postponed. Once you see the system, it cannot be unseen. And once you see it, you must decide what to do. The narrative Tasha K laid out transforms the story from rumor to revelation. It is about emotional management, deliberate design, and the cost of visibility. Claressa's strength was admired, but it was also assumed, exploited, and leveraged to maintain an image that did not reflect reality. The collapse she faces is internal, psychological, and irreversible. Once the truth is clear, the only question left is, what comes next? Do you protect the image or yourself? Do you remain inside the structure or walk away? Either choice carries scars, either choice redefines identity, and either choice exposes what happens when loyalty was never what it seemed. This is the moment most people never see coming. It is private, quiet, and deeply transformative. The collapse does not scream, it suffocates. And the decisions that follow will define not just relationships, but self-respect, dignity, and emotional freedom.